Where do I begin with Dragon Ball Super episode 129? Oh, baby. Yo, I'm not gonna lie, this episode, man, it stole my heart. It stole my heart from a perspective of somebody that, you know what I'm saying? And if you feel me, I hope you feel me on this one. If you was one of those kids that you used to rush home from school, it was channel 32 for me, Cartoon Network, you know what I'm saying? And you used to wait for that time to come of Toonami and Dragon Ball Z, and to see Goku, Son Goku, one of the most legendary characters in all of fiction, kick some ass. This episode brought that to me. It made me feel like how I felt when I was rushing home, how I felt when I was like, this is the greatest thing ever in life. I'm not gonna lie, I felt that for that moment while watching that episode of Dragon Ball Super, between Goku's new transformation, him in the Omen form versus Jiren throughout the entirety of the episode, for the most part up until the end, leading into Goku finally mastering Ultra Instinct and having the full form. My gosh, honestly, like, let's talk the first part of this about aesthetics of this episode. The aesthetics was absolutely phenomenal. I ain't gonna lie. The key arts and animation, the keyframes, the animation just was non-stop, simply breathtaking. I'm not sure how many series are going to be able to reach a fight of this caliber in 2018. And the best thing about it is, because, you know, people always come at Toei and give Toei a hard time, but this isn't a seasonal anime, and it had this level of animation that people were praising, and this level of art that people were praising a lot of the seasonals. Now, animation, maybe you can, okay, you want to argue that it didn't have that great of fluidity or whatever. There'll be somebody that'll come in there and say, like, if you're comparing that to, like, One Punch Man was rotating, blah, 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 whatever. But it was still top of the line, absolutely amazing. Goku in the Omen form, it was just like, every shot, I was like, yo, I just want to keep seeing Goku walking. I don't even give a fuck. You don't even gotta throw a punch. It just looks so damn good just seeing him walking, you know what I'm saying? So him and Jiren throwing down throughout the fight, and of course having the back and forth between seeing them fight and the crowd was crazy. Now, if you want to say on a basic standpoint regarding this episode, you want to narrow it down to something very simplistic, and in its most simplest form, you could say that it was essentially Goku's at his limit, Goku gets back up, Jiren is kicking ass, Jiren is getting his ass kicked. Let's look at the crowd. You could put it in that form, or if you just want to describe it very quickly to somebody, you could say that. I definitely felt it was a lot more than that. I definitely felt it was a lot more emotional than that. I definitely felt as though it was really connecting everything with the fandom. I feel as though Toei hit the nail on the head with getting the vibe of, like, guys, this is the end of the series. We know you guys wanted something epic for a long time. Here you go. When Jiren had that face that Goku got him, but I'll say a couple of critiques. I'm not going to lie. I'm not going to be completely, fanboy mode up. This is supposed to be a review. I'll try my best to be unbiased, although this episode was... But you could argue, hey, it was a little bit repetitive. It was constantly like, Goku is on the attack, and then now Goku's at his limits, you know what I'm saying? Definitely, there was a little bit of a repetitive nature to it of Goku, you know what I'm saying, at the ropes and kind of done, and then jumping back and kicking Jiren's ass. So a little bit of a discrepancy, you could argue there, but my gosh, let's talk about Goku's power in the Omen form. Definitely, you could see that, well, for starters, when he was fighting Jiren in the blue form, couldn't do much. In the Omen form, he still could do stuff, but not necessarily like what you would have thought, which was kind of interesting. I honestly was a little bit surprised. I thought, okay, Omen form, bam, Jiren, like, this is where he's at. But it seems as though Jiren, for the most part, could kind of somewhat handle that form. So essentially, you got to look, okay, we know exactly where Jiren is. Jiren is essentially at the point of being at the level of, like, Ultra Instinct, but, the Omen form. Because, again, he was even giving Goku the works in that mode, which is why throughout the episode, Goku was fighting in that. Again, some people might even say, oh, such a tease. We get to the end of the episode, and then, of course, we get the mastered, silver-haired form of Goku, and you can tell it's going to be a whole different vibe. But honestly, the struggle, let's talk a little bit, because we talked about a lot of the aesthetics of how gorgeous it looked, the art, the animation, every shot. Even, and I said this in my spoiler, the pictures that came out yesterday or whatever before the episode came out, but even Krillin looked good. You've done some good when you got a shot of, like, Krillin and Tiana just chilling, looking out, you know what I'm saying, the stands. Even they looked good. So they brought their A game, and that's all that needs to be said. nothing needs to be said any further in regards to how amazing this looked and felt and sounded. Like that Ultra Instinct OST that comes on, I don't know if it's like violin, it goes dun dun, these like high-pitched synths. Oh my god, everything about that, amazing. Now the content itself, again, it was a battle episode. It was the final fight leading into the final stretch, which will be next week of the final fight. But essentially this was like that point where, okay, the turnaround. Goku has, struggled enough against Jiren. He's given his all with everything that he's had up until this point. He's given it. You know what I'm saying? He went there and back, and this episode is definitely the turning point of the hero now takes charge, and the hero is about to put down the antagonist. I won't call Jiren a villain. He's not a villain. He's an antagonist, and you could even see throughout the episode, Goku lit a fire in Jiren. It's a lot of the classic case of, like, you could even compare Jiren slightly to like a Beerus or again to Goro from Yu Yu Hakusho. You can definitely see he's a man that respects power, because power is something that got him to the point where he's at right now, where maybe he could achieve his dreams. And all the hell that he's been through, it was power that, helped him to continue. It was power that allowed Jiren to get to becoming even an adult, because Jiren went through some shit in the past. I don't want to harp on old shit, but really wish we would have got more. But nevertheless, Jiren being a man of power, you see in this episode him smiling against Goku, and he's like, yeah, this is it, let's go, baby. It's like a kid in a candy store. Him and Goku are like, bam. So definitely an interesting thing to see there. And let's talk about the biggest moment, or one of the biggest moments. Obviously, the transformation is going to be the talk of the town, and it was gorgeous and amazing, absolutely breathtaking. One of the best, if not the best, because, we could talk all day which one is the best looking transformation. Majority of people say either Super Saiyan 3, or they really love Super Saiyan 4, they just hate GT or whatever. Some people say the very first Super Saiyan transformation, the transformation itself was legendary, you know what I'm saying? Just going into it, because Goku lost somebody very important to him, Krillin, and all of that stuff. But this is up there. Mastered Ultra Instinct, or Ultra Instinct, whatever, the silver-haired form, Super Saiyan Silver. This looked breathtakingly gorgeous. They did a phenomenal job, and I think a lot of it also has to do with the technology of what they can do now. You can definitely see there's filters all over the place to add that extra aura, but it was insane. And speaking of the crowd, let's talk a little bit, because one of my favorite scenes of the entire episode, and I think a lot of people will agree as well, is when all of the gods stood up. It was like, bro, I'm at a loss of words when they all stood up, and when Beerus said that, and when we had the narrations of Whis, it truly felt like a culmination of everything Dragon Ball Super was leading up to. A lot of it was from, especially the moment they met Beerus, and of course they started training with Whis, preparing them for this moment, to reach this plateau, to get to this power, to be able to tangle with these type of folk that are on god levels. And honestly, I think that this episode 100% solidified. Goku is probably even stronger than majority of the gods of destruction. Is he stronger than, somebody like, for example, Whis' father? I don't know, because we know that people like him are on a different caliber. For example, Whis was Beerus' mentor, so you could argue that he might have passed all of the gods of destruction. Did he pass the angels, though? If there was a war to break out, if Dragon Ball Super ended on a cliffhanger where, let's just say it ends with the Grand Priest looking evil like everybody expected, which would be a beautiful way to segue into a sequel down the road, you could argue, hey, Goku passed the gods, he ain't passed the angels. They're gonna give him a problem. But nevertheless, the emotion, the buildup of everything that came together, Beerus' smile, the gods all standing up one after another, absolutely insane, incredible. This episode, you could call it from a fanboy's perspective, you could call it from somebody that loved Dragon Ball Z, incredible fights for that matter. This episode brought all of that and then some, and it only made me more hopeful for next week's episode, which we will talk about in a different video, preview discussion or whatever. But my god, absolutely insane. The transformation, the fight, Jiren for a guy that, he has a small, short backstory, he went through some shit or whatever, he's still pretty damn cool. You know what I'm saying? I gotta give Jiren props. The episode itself was just a really, truly impactful moment. Honestly, it defined where this series was going and what it tried to do. It tried to give you what you loved from this series. When you fell in love with Dragon Ball at whatever given point in time, that's what it definitely did, and that's what Dragon Ball Super definitely did. And if I ever do an overview of Dragon Ball Super, that's some of the things that I will say, because this episode is a standout. Probably, if not one of the best episodes, then definitely the best episode. Action-wise, I really can't tell another part of the series that had a damn good fight with this level of intensity like this. Honestly, I don't see it. Like Goku Black fights, they were great. I don't know if it was on this level, or the merged Zamasu. I don't think it was on this level. Even the fight against Beerus, as cool as that wasn't on this level, because Goku was, very underpowered in comparison. Nah, honestly, I gotta give it, this is probably one of the best moments in the entirety of the series, and one of the coolest moments since the revival, simply because Dragon Ball did something that it didn't really do back in the day. And that's that something was foreshadowed. Arcs upon arcs beforehand that really led to something great. I think Toriyama possibly took cues from what a lot of creators are doing nowadays. Not that Toriyama needs it. He's a legend. I'm not trying to discredit his incredibleness or his greatness for that matter, but simply saying that it was something that Dragon Ball was never really a big deal of doing. Usually Toriyama would just pull things out of nowhere, like the whole Red Ribbon Army return. This seemed genuinely and thoroughly, for the most part, planned of Whis is training them to eventually get to that point. It's crazy. I can't believe we're here. Kind of curious what you guys think. For starters, the big fight, Goku versus Jiren. Who's going to win? What is the outcome going to be? Real quickly, though, I gotta mention again, Frieza. Is this a Hits clone situation? What is going on? We got one episode left of the fight, I'm imagining, and 131 will be the finale. I'm not sure if next week we have an episode or it's the following week that we're off, because there will be one more break before Dragon Ball Super ends. But honestly, I gotta say, from somebody that has loved and adored this work called Dragon Ball for 20 plus years, I was very satisfied. And I'm gonna miss Dragon Ball. I'm gonna miss seeing shit like this. I'm gonna miss seeing somebody that, you know what I'm saying, when I was a kid, made me think, you know what, people that bothered me and bullied me, I didn't have to look down. I could stand up for myself. Son Goku. I'm gonna miss him. This episode really hit me in the feels. So absolutely amazing. I'm giving this one an 11 out of 10. Mastered it, for instance. A little bit of repetitiveness in the episode, but nevertheless phenomenal. But that is all I have for this one. Thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed. If you liked anything I had to say or enjoyed the video, drop me a like. I'd greatly appreciate it. And if you want more from me, make sure to subscribe. Follow me on Twitter, Instagram, and stalk my Facebook to get more when the video ends. I'm ForneverWorld, and as always, people, have an awesome day. And remember the golden rule: anime and manga for life, boy. Bow. Have an awesome day. Goku versus Jiren, bro. It lived up to the expectations, and that's more than anybody could ask for. Have an awesome day.